Well, this is Erin and Craig
Hmm.
are coming from Riverside, California, to visit us here in Sedona. And I just want to ask you, first of all, what brought you to Sedona? And is this the first time, or have you been here more than once? Or?
Well, we hold Sedona near and dear to our hearts because about 20 years ago, when we were first married in December 2005,
There you go.
we came to Sedona to honeymoon.
Ah,
And so here we are about almost 20 years later, back at the same church where we spent our first Sabbath about 20 years ago. It's
oh,
wonderful to be back with you all.
very wonderful.
We're taken with the view, the beauty, and we've enjoyed the family fellowship that we've experienced here.
Definitely. 12 windows, incredible view.
Yes.
Love it.
Yeah. What was a significant thing that led you into an experience with God and with Christ? What were the catalysts that happened in your lives that led you to that kind of experience?
I'm a third generation Seventh-day Adventist, and my grandfather converted when he was a teenager in Texas and then became a pastor after he went to Pacific Union College. And then my mother met my father, who was not religious at all, but then he converted, and then our family was raised Seventh-day Adventist, and I've fully enjoyed the intellectual component, and more recently in my life have realized the beauty of the relationship that we're also called to. And I love how the Adventist Church pulls those two things together.
Very good. You mentioned your dissertation or your book that you're working on is talking about leadership.
Leadership.
And what is the spiritual motivations, inspirations behind your work?
The idea is that Christ, God, the three, created this world so that he could be with us, they could be with us. And the first two chapters of Genesis is that. He walked with them in the cool of the evening. He spent all day Sabbath with them. And then in Genesis 3, Adam and Eve chose to be without God, to step outside of God. And so the rest of the Bible is the demonstration to the utmost that God went through so that we could be with him again. He dwelt with us in the sanctuary. He came as Emmanuel, God with us. And then eternity in the new earth he will be with us, and he will be our God, and we will be his people. And the beauty of leadership, a true great leader, is one who takes on 4 habits that Christ did, which is self-awareness. He was called to the wilderness. He fully became aware of who he was. He became solid in his personal beliefs. That's the second habit. The third habit is the idea of relational transparency. He met with people. He healed them where they were. And then the fourth is making balanced decisions because he was with God.
Wonderful.
Amen.
And Doctor, tell us about your spiritual background, experience, your heritage.
Sure.
What has led you to be a physician? What motivates you to be a physician? And what is the spiritual component, and what motivates you to do what you do?
Sure. I grew up really as an Adventist because about 2 years old, my mom came into the church and my dad came back into the church. And the way that happened was my grandfather, who actually passed away about 49 years ago yesterday, he had passed away. My parents looked at each other after my dad had left the church previous, and they said, well, what happens when you die? And they came home to their mailbox that had a leaflet from the local SDA church with an evangelistic series that says, what happens when you die? And they looked at each other and said, we have to go. And kind of the rest is history. My mom got baptized, my dad came back into the church, and at about 2 years old, that's all I kind of ever knew. But of course, that's one component of a relationship. The bigger component is to see how God has led me through my life, every single step of the way. And probably one of the most profound ways that he led me through my life was about 1.5 years ago. I had a huge health crisis. When I walked into the ER at Loma Linda, my heart rate was about 196 beats per minute. So it was going about 3 beats every second. And I almost passed out. In fact, in the ER, I passed out in front of Erin. About 2 times I was admitted to ICU. And I recognized in talking to my colleagues that I should have died. God gave me a second lease on life. And really, all of what I do is for his glory. He's the one that's in charge. He's the one that's leading. The only reason I'm as a physician is because he has gotten me here. You can ask Erin, but I mean, there's no reason I should be. So, really it's a ministry for him and for his kingdom.
That's so wonderful.
Yeah.
I know your two wonderful boys.
Oh, yeah.
What would
Yeah.
you want for your boys from your life? What would you like for them to take from your life into their life and what they show to the world?
The greatest joy I would have is that they have a committed relationship with Jesus, and that they have Jesus in their hearts, and that they live it to show the world and to lead others to his kingdom, to Jesus. That would be my greatest joy.
Wonderful.
Amen. I agree.
All right.
Yeah.
Well, thank you guys for visiting with us.
Nice to be
I
here.
wish you could be here longer, but I know you have to head back to California.
Yes.
But it's been a joy having you with us.
Thank you for
Thank you.
blessing us so much. You all are such a blessing.
Oh, thank you.
Thank you. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you,
Thanks.
guys.